Oh, hold on. And we made it.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, Joe?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm just going to give us some time for everyone to join. We were just having technical difficulties, you all, which it happens, it happens. So, yeah, I know I'm excited about tonight's discussion. This is going to be very great. I know people were probably planning on, I know last week we had some guests. We had Pico Cato, we had Zane Williams and James Williams. The two young men were my cousins who grew up in foster care. And they're just doing very well with themselves. And I wanted to bring on their father to talk about their relationship, just so people could see that, even though you grow up in foster care and everything, you don't just have to disown your family. You don't have to disown your parents. You could still have a relationship with your parents. You could still, you could let go of the trauma and the pain, and, you could still have a relationship with your family. So everyone that's viewing right now, we just ask that you all share it to your page, because tonight's show is going to be very impactful. It's going to give a lot of people hope. Josette is an amazing person, is an overcomer. I met her 5 years ago. I was a graduate of the Parent Leadership Training Institute here in Solano County. That Children's Network put together. It was Alan Curzon. He was the executive director at the time. And it was a civic engagement, and it taught me how to be, that's where my advocacy started. It was there. It was knowing how, as a parent, I can be involved in the rights that I have as a parent. And then from there, I sat on the local child care planning council as the president. And I actually attended a meeting. And at that meeting, Danielle Prince, who is the Bay Area facilitator for ACES, she was there presenting. And I'm in there in tears because I'm like I have some of these ACEs. Like, I have some of these, and this is information that needs to get out to people in the community so that they know, because we need to get to these kids. I'm an early childhood educator, and you guys know I love sharing information. I want everyone to become aware. Our children are our future, and I will do anything for the well-being of a child. So tonight, we have Josette Lacey, who was a viewer last week, who shared with us that she scored a 10 on the ACE score. And for those of you who don't know what ACEs is, there's an ACEs questionnaire. There's a study that the CDC did along with Kaiser, and they discovered that there was this public health issue that was, was generational, and it linked ACEs to health issues. And ACEs is adverse childhood experiences. And the indicators are, it is child abuse, child physical abuse, child emotional abuse, child neglect, sexual abuse, emotional neglect, physical neglect, having someone in your household that is mentally ill, depressed, or have anxiety, incarceration of a family member, having a family member in the home that is a drug addict or alcoholic, witnessing domestic violence, and also the loss of a parent due to abandonment, divorce, or death. And if you answer yes to each one of those indicators, that is your ACE score. And you are a person who has 4 or more ACEs is 2.5 times likely to smoke. They are 7.5 times as likely to depend on alcohol, and they are 10 times as likely to use intravenous drugs. And we have Josette, who is going to share her story with us, you guys, which is going to be mind blowing and just amazing. Like, wow. Go ahead, Josette. Tell us who you are. What made you accept the invite to come on tonight? And yeah, tell your story.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I was really honored, and I was so touched that you remembered the year 2015 when we met each other, and the work that you were doing was I was just I was like attracted to you. I wanted to see what does she want to do, and you were very passionate about it. So I really appreciate that. So I joined last week your very first version of Bounceback Wednesdays, and just I have been sharing that I am a 10 of ACEs, and I think it's really hard for some people to believe that. When I first took the test, and we'll talk more about that later when we have another guest join us, but when I took the test of everything, and you covered it very well, and most of those things happened in my childhood, pretty much did not really have parents that took care of me. I was raised by a great grandmother. Going to school was very important to me because school was a safe place for me. That was where I found, consistency, structure. That was a place that was safe for me. So I loved being at school. I absolutely loved it. Um, and recently, maybe a few months ago, I think on social media, people know that I turned 50 last year. And that was a big turning point for me. I decided, you know what, I'm halfway through my life. I need to be honest about things. I spent a lot of years just pretending that I grew up in this perfect little family, and even as a child, I acted like I acted like everything was just perfect when there was all this stuff going on. The first time that I shared that I scored ACEs, I had a childhood friend of mine reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, and it meant a lot to me. She apologized.
Sorry, I'm having
we
trouble
spent
hearing you.
we spent a lot of time together, riding through the neighborhood where Cave Elementary School is, where I went to school right here in Vallejo. We ride our bikes around, and she messaged me and she apologized for, not knowing really what was going on. I never talked about it because it would be too embarrassing to talk about. So that's really part of the reason why I wanted to share this, to be honest, and to let young people and even older people know that it's really okay to be honest, and this is helpful for me as well. So
Which is important. Talking about it, speaking about it. So when you were able to open up and talk, because when we spoke yesterday, you shared about going to a therapist, which some people don't, we just don't do it. It's just like, why? And I don't understand why some of us really don't, when we really should. So what was that first experience with you, um, when you met with your therapist?
yeah, so that was like around about in my 20s. My husband and I have been together for 35 years. Um, so we have 35, not 35 years, 30 years, I'm sorry. And I am a little bit nervous.
That's okay. Me too.
We've been together for 30 years, and there became a point in our marriage where I just like something was going on. And of course, it was all his fault. And I decided to go to counseling, and I started figuring out a lot. And what mainly came up was my mom. Um, it kept coming back to her. And so I began doing work there on, things that I had like suppressed a lot of memories. I knew a lot, but I didn't know of the more painful areas that had happened. I remember being physically abused, um, so badly with belts, and but it's just when I was a kid, even other kids were saying, my parents spanked me, and it was like, wow, that's just how it is, I guess. And I remember I don't know how old I was when it was like, hitting a child was just not the thing to do anymore. And I thought, gosh, why did they wait so long to make that the case? But really it was never right. It's just that I felt that, that's what my mom did, and that's just how it was in my life. So that's not a good feeling. That's,
I understand. I totally understand. I think um, last year, so ACEs Connection. So it's a whole group where it's a lot of people that's trauma informed. And so the Danielle Prince had someone reached out to me from ACEs Connection and said that she had nominated me to be a ACEs champion. And so, I had to answer a lot of questions because they did this article on me. And I mean, I told my story, excuse my language, but I'm like, I used to get my ass whooped, like I did, and it's abuse. That's what it is, and we think it's just common, like it's just okay, like it's it's very harmful. It is like even just one time getting a whooping, like that will have you flinching at everything. Something coming your way, you're gonna flinch. I think when I stopped getting whoopings is, and I don't know if it's like, but when I stopped, I started laughing. My mom stopped whooping me because it's just like it just didn't hurt anymore. It's just like, you know, um, yeah. So I'm a mandated reporter and stuff, so I try not to say too much, but it's not, and it's ways that I feel. This is just what I feel, that there's a lot of displaced aggression. Parents could take things out on children that they're going through. They just take it out on the kids. They're just so angry they can't take it out on work. They're having a bad day at work, so they come home and they have all this aggression and everything, and all this frustration inside, and it seeps out, and then they, find a reason just to whoop the kids. And it's not okay. It's not okay. So with those, with having so with the statistics, with showing the consequences of ACEs 4 or more, were there any addictions with you at all?
Well, I couldn't say an addiction, but I'm overweight.
Okay.
I feel like, and I have made a change in my diet, and I'm very excited to say that I've lost 50 pounds. I gave up I gave up meat and dairy, and so this happened after my birthday. That was a really turning point for me last year. Um, and I kind of figured out I would eat because I wanted to be as ugly as I possibly could so that nobody would touch me.
Aww.
And that's really, I mean, that's just sad. So I was left in too many vulnerable situations, too many, situations with men that were unsafe. So I think it was just that last birthday that made me realize, why was I overweight? It was because I just wanted to be not wanted, not, I didn't want anybody to touch me.
Okay, okay. And so how long have you been married?
My husband and I have been together since 1990.
1990.
So it's 30 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. And,
Yeah.
and you talk about your daughter. You have a daughter.
Yeah. We have 2 sons and a daughter.
2 sons and a daughter. So
Yeah.
wow, that's great. That's great. So
Mm.
I wonder with him, how has his experience been? Your husband, how has
Yeah.
experience been? It makes me think about, you know who Joyce Myers is?
No.
Okay, so Joyce Myers is a minister, and she is amazing. Like Joyce Meyer has to be in her 70s, but her story is like all her life. I wonder when did it stop? But mostly all her life. It probably stopped when she was in her 20s. I hope I'm just not being extreme. But she was sexually abused by her father until, like, I want to say her 20s.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time. And that's her story. And she had ended up meeting her husband, and she would say how she would, take things out on him. And her dad got older. As he got older, she forgave him. He was sick, and she allowed him to come stay with her. And she took care of her father until he passed. Like,
Oh,
yeah, that's huge.
that
That is
is, yeah.
so huge. And that's like when we talk about forgiveness, when people do things, like forgiving them because it's for us,
Mm-hmm.
because we could walk around because of things that were done to us, like our parents whooping our ass, and it's like we could stay forever mad at our parents, but it's doing us more harm than it's doing them. But when we you know, forgive them and try to get through that, it's weight taken off of us. Like, okay, and then we're thinking about our parents. And this is so when I do the triple P training, you heard them talking about triple P today in the meeting earlier today. So I became accredited in triple P intentionally. Everything I do is intentional. Okay. I love children, being a family home child care provider, and I see the different parenting styles. Like, okay, I can see what kind of parent this is, this. I sometimes I feel like I could really profile somebody. Like, okay, this is the kind of household they grew up in. Okay, this is what they're saying. This is what happened to them as a child. Like, I have the ability to do that. And so I've noticed that, the children are products of their environments. Children do most of the time what they see being done. That's what they do. They come, dramatic play area, they talking to other kids like they talk to at home, cursing them out and everything, hitting them and everything. And it's like, we can't get mad at the kids because that's the parent. Like, that's what you gonna do. Don't get mad at that baby. You need to do some self-reflecting and think about how you've been treating this child, because that's how they're acting. It's how you're treating them. But I took triple P because it's a positive parenting program where parents learn strategies and tools to manage behavior. But it's for the parents. It's not for the children. It's helping, but you learn how to be so calm with the children, how to respond to them, how not to get into these traps of telling them something over and over again, then until you get to the point where you yelling at them like, didn't I tell you to do this? But it's like, it shouldn't get that far. So we have to approach the child, say their name, tell them to stop what they're doing, but we have to tell them something else to do. It's so much, but people really need to if they want to improve their parenting. But the whole point of me bringing that up is parenting styles. Okay, we have to know what our parenting style is, and even taking the time out to talk to our parents to talk about how they grew up. How it was in their household. They whoop us because they were whooped. So I'm just thinking about that. So it was last year when you took the test, the ACEs questionnaire?
No, it was probably 4 years ago.
4 years ago. So you
I was
guys,
at a First Five workshop.
okay. See, then this is what I want people to know is ACEs has been around, and I'm intentional with these conversations because people need to know about this. It's so important now to think about the environments that children are growing up in and identifying the kind of health that we're in as adults, as parents, as educators, and seeing what kind of impact and what kind of influence we're having on our children, the children around us, because yeah, it will affect them. It really will. Whew.
I also think this is helpful for new parents to hear, parenting doesn't come with a book. We don't get a book that tells us what to do and what not to do. and there's people that are young. I was 21 years old when we started having children. I didn't think that was young, but it was really young. And if young parents could hear, how everybody wants to be loved, everybody wants to be wanted. And if to learn about good parenting is just important, because to see the effect that it could have on a person, and things could have gone such a different way for me. There's substance abuse runs through my family. Probably every other person. I've had, family members that have been incarcerated, that have died of overdose. It's very rampant in my family. So, that's another thing that's, really difficult for children to deal with. And, we have a lot of that in our community, a lot. And I really know that from doing a cleanup last weekend. All of the paraphernalia and the empty bottles of alcohol that we found is, not only is it littering, but I thought, wow, this is sad.
And what area in Vallejo? Was that in Vallejo?
Yeah, I was at the 200 block of Rollingwood.
200 blocks
The
of Rollingwood.
little league fields across from Skyview Memorial.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's people probably at the cemetery, probably just going through it. Abandonment, parent due to death or something, a family member.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, serious. It's like it's all this, like as if it's common, and people shouldn't have to grow up in trauma-filled communities. And most of the communities there, it is by design. Like, it is by design.
Mm-hmm.
And there needs to be more strengthening families. Like, there has to be that workshop that was put on tonight. So I have to get her on here. Jenna Lee Dawson. What I loved about that, because it was around, what is it, Solano Partnership Violence? You're going to have me look, because I don't want
Solano Partnership Against Violence. Solano Partnership Against Violence, SPAV.
Okay, SPAV. So Solano Partnership Against Violence. You guys, today was a virtual network, and I saw it was like 46 participants, but there were presentations from organizations across Solano County. And you guys hear the Solano County Partnership Against Violence. I said it right?
Yes.
Violence, you guys. We're talking about violence, okay? It is common, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in schools, it's on TV, it's in the newspaper, it's in our homes, it's everywhere, and it has a huge impact on our communities, on everybody. Like, I was talking last week about the gunshots I hear over here. I woke up the other morning, a young man was outside arguing with his girlfriend, and he picking up rocks and throwing them at the car and damaging the car. I was like, this, and everybody in the house, everybody that's around that heard that is affected by it. They are. So, yeah, it's too common, way too common. And the organizations that presented today, I was like, I wrote down everything. I can't wait to get the email. Thank you, Josette, for inviting me there, because it was just stuff and I'm linking everything to ACEs. I'm linking everything to children and families. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to use them. We can use them for this. It's going to happen. Like, something bigger is going to happen. And I appreciate you for being so supportive. I appreciate you for wanting to come on here and share your story to, let people know, like, they still have hope. So what do you do? What is your career? What do you do?
So I am a district representative for Solano County Supervisor Aaron Hannigan.
Yeah, and you do. Yeah. You do great things. Like, you're everywhere. Like I said, you approached me to hear about the community project that I wanted to do, and it was all geared towards children. Like, we need more Children need more access to parks. I mean,
Hmm.
only certain environments. I don't know if it's based off zoning or what, but all children should have access to a park. Like, you want to go play, you want to go somewhere where it's fun. People wonder why so much violence and stuff everywhere. These kids don't have anything to do. They need things to do, and they need things to do in safe, healthy environments. And we have to create that as a community, because it starts with the community and people speaking up. We need more advocates to speak up. That's what we need. More people fighting. More people fighting. Okay, Josette.
Something that came to my mind when you mentioned SPAV, and due to COVID, the numbers are even higher for violence in the home. I mean, parents are working from home, they're teaching their children. They could have several children. It adds more stress, and it's really different. And kids can hardly go outside to play because now the county's been pulled back into the purple tier, so restrictions are even more. So this is a critical time for families, and hopefully they're finding ways like what you're doing. Thank you very much. Going live with this. I hope that it's helpful for families, young people, and even older people.
Yes, me too. Yeah, because it's never too late. It's never too late. My mom is 62. My father is 68, and I share this with all my family's aces. And it's so funny because they just, oh, you're trying to use your psychology. That's my mama. Like, what? Like, I'm just trying to educate you. I just, if I see certain things, I'm like, okay. When she shares her story, because she opens up enough. Like, people can share their stories with me. I'm not going to judge people. I'm not going to tell anybody. Like, just, I want to hear, because I want to be that person that they could come talk to, like, let me, give advice if they want some. I'm not perfect. I have trauma. I have things that I'm overcoming. I believe I'm doing good. I'm doing better as I learn more. I try my hardest to put it into practice. But my mom, my dad, and they are very receptive. It's like they want to hear it. They like, okay, okay, and I'm like, yeah, and yeah, how y'all used to whoop us, like it's not okay. It wasn't okay, and I don't blame them at all. Like, they did the best they could do, just like you said earlier. We don't have there's no guide or anything to be a parent. I honestly, I did not want kids just because of this world.
Mhm.
I was 29 years old when I had Brandon. I was 29, because I told myself I didn't want to be in any situations where I could not care for my baby. And I returned back to school at the age of 29 when I was pregnant with him, to take some classes on early childhood education, because I wanted to become more educated on how to care for my child and his development. And I learned a lot with my degree in early childhood education. I specialize in infant, toddler care and development, and I specialize also in violence intervention and counseling. And that's something that sparked a lot in me. Like, whoo. So it's important, you all, to become trauma informed. And to become trauma informed, I mean, you want to know, here we go. So to be trauma informed is to make an effort to know the past and current traumas impacting those you work with. I mean, be it a client, patient, student, or a program participant. It's very important. And you want to have someone who is stable, somebody who is really caring. And so I was thinking about when you were telling me about your story and about how you were there with Erin, and you told her that what your score was. And that's big for you to even share that with someone, because stuff you did not talk about. And we have to have someone that we could talk about. We have to have these people that care about us. We have to ask questions like, what is it? What happened to you? Not what's wrong with you, and not take things personal. When people are upset or they getting mad or something, just don't take it personal. Like something's going on with them. Like, oh, do you want to talk about it? Like, there's things that we could talk about. But I have Erin Hannigan here, who I want to bring on, which is someone I love so much. She is so supportive. I love her. But I want to bring her on because I want her to share her experience that she had when you told her that you scored a 10.
So we were taking the test. We were taking the test together.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Erin.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I've been watching you. I've had this show on like 3 different devices, and then it took me about that long to figure out how to get to this space. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh, thank you.
It was like a little foo.
Yes. Oh, we have a story to tell.
Yeah.
Miss Williams, how you doing? Oh, look. You didn't hear me, Erin?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can
Miss
you hear
Williams,
me?
how you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Andrews is what you're thinking. Look at you.
Andrews, where are you Williams from? Miss Williams.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. That's why you didn't
respond.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you share?
So Josette and I work together at the county, and actually Josette and I go way back. I was counting up. I think it's been 26 years I've known Josette. We were introduced by a mutual friend when I was working for State Farm, and my son, I know 26 because my son was 2 years old, and I needed some help in the summertime for some childcare time, and Josette was doing that kind of work. And my son and her oldest son are about a year apart, and so that's how we connected. And the boys are very good friends and grew up pretty much together. But I had no idea about Josette's background. I really, I knew little bits and pieces, but nothing ever like meshed together to say, oh, this is why she is who she is. I never put any of that together. I just felt like, Josette was this loving, caring individual who was very involved with children, much like you, Jamila. I mean, she worked with children in a after-school program at a private school here in town for a number of years. And, that was just her thing. And so we got involved with ACES, our office. We also have Michael Wilson as a part of our team. I ended up being a moderator for a panel after showing the resilience video a couple of times, once in Fairfield and then another time in Vallejo. And we just, one day it was like, well, let's just do our score. We never really thought about, how does this affect me, or, what would I check off on that list? And so we all 3 did our scores, and I'm sure Michael's okay with me sharing. He got a 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, 0? Yes, exactly. We all want 0s on our ACE score.
Great. Yeah.
I actually had a 4.
Okay.
And Josette had a 10. So we, kind of ran this gamut. But Josette having a score of 10 really, without knowing details, that's heartbreaking. What that means is as a child, you went through a lot of trauma. And I didn't know at the time that Josette, was for the most part raised by her grandmother, but I did not know what the relationships were. I do know Josette's mother. I don't know her father, but I knew that they weren't together. And And then it was shocking. I mean, it just brings a tear to your eye, more than anything. And I really feel, and I might be saying more than I probably should, but I really feel that, doing better by children and by people is what drives Josette to be who she is. Josette embraces all kinds of situations that Michael will run from. And I'll approach gingerly. Josette dives in, and I think that's I think that's that desire to heal people, to help people find a path to their own truth, regardless of what they've been experiencing in their life. And I really feel that's a lot of the reason. Probably shouldn't talk about it, but Sophia is in her life. Sophia is in her life because she's little Josette, and she's the girl that's going to have the life that Josette wanted to have, protect her from those things. And so I give Josette kudos and credit all the time. It's not easy to step forward and say, you've had all these adverse experiences as a child occur to you. Children are, as we know, they're not in control of their lives. The adults or the people around them are, and they don't always have an escape hatch. And I think we normalize treatment that adults place on us. I got spanked. I got beat with a belt. I almost said whether I needed it or not. I was the oldest child. I was always pushing the limits and the boundaries. And my parents weren't that old when they had me. My mother was 21.
Okay.
And that was, children were seen and not heard kind of a thing. Like, oh no, you're going to hear me.
Okay. You are where you are. Exactly why.
Yeah. So, I feel really fortunate that to have Josette in my life. She's just a tremendous friend. She's a ride or die kind of buddy. And I really give her just utmost respect for sharing her story. I mean, I don't know that we'll hear details. I don't know that it's necessary, but having an ACE score of 10 probably tells you more than you probably you can figure it out what happened.
Yeah.
I tell her all the time I love her.
Which is good.
Jamila.
Yeah, which is good. That's what's needed. That is what's needed. What is this? I know Josette said the school was an important part of her life. Yeah. Was school the piece in your life that helped you to be successful? What do you think of as your support system? Okay. You want to ask?
Hi, Miss Catherine. So school, like I said, school was my safe place. That was where I went to be safe. That was where I went to have a hot meal and where, I could just learn. I wanted to learn as much as I could so I can get out of my situation, really. But what really made me success, and I wanted to go back to when Aaron and I took the test together, and when I looked at her, and I think I was embarrassed to tell Michael. I knew that, but he's always been, so accepting and supportive. So, but I looked at Aaron and I said, I'm a 10. And she looked at me and she said, I'm sorry. And I felt it like, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being a 10 because I'm happy with who I am today. But I've always just surrounded myself with people like you, Catherine, and many of you that are on the call have been part of, I basically served couches my whole, and I was telling Jamelia earlier that I always found good families, and they always made me part of their families. I was always, even as an adult, I can go to a holiday party and the family feels like because they take me in and they love me as if I'm one of their own. So it's just the people the tribe that I've come up with. And And then, as a mom, I knew that I wanted things to be different for my children. I'm not a perfect parent. It took a lot, but when we had our first son, I wanted to take all the courses and read anything that I could, all the parenting magazines, whenever I had a moment to read, because I had to figure out a different way to raise children. And that's something that I want, people on the call or other people, parenting classes, counseling, whatever you need, whatever is going to help you to be a successful parent. And of course, there's mistakes that come up and ways to learn. But as long as you learn and grow and and talk, read, sing for sure to those little ones, because it's important.
It's important. And we talk about the 5 protective factors, the strengthen families approach, and having creating a parental resilience, the social connections, having those parent groups, knowledge of parenting and child development. So taking some courses, taking some Triple P, positive parenting program courses. Also concrete support in a time of need. So when you have these different agencies, such as like the First Five Center, Vallejo, when they give out diapers, or even right now giving out supplies as far as with COVID, masks, bleach, stuff like that, social and emotional competence of children. Like, kids are going to cry. I mean, there's things that we all cry about, even as adults. I'm a big kid, okay? Like, so I'm a crier. I wanted to grab my little plate earlier with but it's okay. Like, because I think about how the men are taught to, don't cry. Like, crying is you a punk if you cry and stuff like that. And it's like, no, like, because you're creating these hard men that's not going to share their feelings when they get older. Like, no, I want somebody to talk to me about everything. Share your feelings with me. Tell me how you feel. It's important. And we all should, just like that, speak when spoken to, like that. So you can't even express how you feeling. Like, if you getting in trouble, you can't even speak up for yourself. You just gonna get your ass whooped. I can't say anything. That is so wrong. Like, my son, the social emotional part is so big to me. If Brandon is mad at me, I'm okay. I am okay with him telling me, like, Mom, I'm mad right now. Like, I'm mad at you. We're going to talk about it. What you mad at? Like, I have that relationship with my son because I want him to be able to come talk to me about everything. Everything. I want him to feel safe. Don't keep any secrets from me. Come to me about anything. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to get mad at him because he telling me that he's mad. That's how he feel. I can't take that away from him. He could feel mad.
That's okay. Jamila, you're preparing him for adulthood. Mm-hmm. It's important for children to know that you don't have to fight it out. You can talk it out. Mm-hmm. You can feel it out. You can have a conversation with a trusted person and share your deepest, darkest secrets if you feel that trust. Mm-hmm. I think that's important for people to know that, the problem is when you run into that man who's been like kept it all down because they couldn't talk about it because they weren't allowed to talk about it. The response was more of a, duke it out versus your words. So you're doing a good job with Brandon. He's going to be a nice man. Nice kid for sure.
I'm trying. I don't have to beat somebody up. They break my baby heart. Okay. Like,
I might have missed it, but maybe you started out with this, and that is, children don't come with manuals, they arrive and we nurture them and we do the best we can. Mm-hmm. But it is important to seek resources out. And that was a huge, catalyst for jumping on board with opening up a First Five Center in Vallejo, because it is a place that is rich in resources for parents and caregivers of children who find themselves stuck in a spot that they don't know what's the right, that maybe they're fighting with how they were taught or shared on how you deal with children. Mm-hmm. And it's really not that way. That's not the best way for your child. It's not the best way for you. And so I appreciate that you do the Triple P too. That's a great program.
Yeah, it is. And I'll vamp it up. I have my parents. So yeah, I ain't gonna say too much because, I'm the only one that do it the way that I do it. But I could share that I do have the parents take a parenting style quiz so that they can learn what their parenting style is. And then I have it compared. Then we have discussions and we talk about how they were parented and what have they taken from the way that they were parented, or, the pros and cons to it. Like, I mean, when I was 15, 16 years old, I was caring for my grandmother. She had Alzheimer's. And it was work. And I barely graduated from high school. I had to take night classes. My father was incarcerated at that time when I was in high school. And I had behavior problems. I was a class clown. That was a trip. But I was a great kid, though. I was telling Josette how when I was younger, I was bullied. I was bullied when I was younger, and then I became a bully. And then now I will protect somebody who's being bullied. Like, that's where I'm at now. Like, no, I'm not having anybody that I know.
We are on the same team. That'll tell you I won't put up with anything.
We're not having that. We are not having that. No bullying. No. So yeah. Well, I wanted to thank you both. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate both of you. You guys share things a lot. You guys are very supportive. Just the work we all doing. It's all about children. It's all about strengthening the child, family, and community. And that's what we need more of. We need more of these discussions where people could open up and talk about their trauma and know that it's okay to talk about it. You have to heal it to feel it. You got to feel it. You got to feel it. You have to feel it to heal. So when you're sitting there, and this was my experience, when you're sitting there talking to your therapist and she's asking you questions to get you to think, and then you start something to come to mind, and you're talking about it, and you're crying. That's because that situation, you're not healed from that situation, and you totally forgot about it. So that you feel it, that's what you have to heal. You have to feel it to heal it. That's just how I take it. So thanks so much, Josette. So what advice would you give people, Josette?
What advice would I give people?
Yeah.
I think today it would be to just be honest. Don't be afraid to share. Don't be afraid, if something's happening that you're not comfortable with, to let somebody know. Find somebody that you're comfortable with, and be that person that other people are willing to open up to. Be kind. I mean, we need to be kind to one another. That is so important. I mean, we all want to be treated the right way, and we need to show other people. This is a tough time that we're going through right now. In our community's gone through trying times. We're still in a pandemic. So, just to care for one another. And Jamelia, I want to thank you for the work that I really want to give a shout out to Watch Me Grow. And if you want to let the group know a little bit more, but I have put a plug out there. Instead of a birthday gift for me, if you could make a donation to her nonprofit that works with kids ages 0 to 5. I'm very passionate about that. It's a critical time in a child's life. So if you want, can you tell them a little bit about that organization and what you do?
Well, Watch Me Grow is it's a nonprofit. It's about strengthening the child, family, and community, bringing just an innovative approach to strengthening families. I'm incorporating with the Triple P. I have a healthy environment so that families could share what they're going through, so that I can connect them with the resource that they need, because that's important. We need to being a child care provider, being the president of Solano County Licensed Family Child Care Association, having those connections with the providers. So you have these providers that have parents of these children that are in their program. So everybody needs to have these connections. So I'm very resourceful. I thank God for all the connections that I have, because I'm going to use my connections, and I'm going to make sure that people get the resources that they need. That's what we need. Any advice you want to give, Erin? I know we're getting out of here right now. Take us home.
She's got a 7:00.
It went away, but yeah, it's postponed until tomorrow. Advice. Well, I mean, I love the advice of being kind. That really speaks to the moment in time that we are all in. I think we're under a lot of pressure. All of us are under a lot of pressure. We're doing things that we've never done before, like stay home for 8 months and, not have too many connections with other humans, particularly those you don't shelter with. So we're all a little short, right? We're a little short on the nerves. We're jumping and at like the slightest little problem. And yeah, I mean, stepping back, taking a deep breath, give people space. You don't know what that person who might be screaming and yelling at you, you don't know what they've been through. You don't know the person driving the car that cut you off. You don't know why they're racing. It's just, we really got to kind of slow down and be kind to our fellow man. As far as ACEs, though, I think it really is important for us to be self-reflective about our actions, particularly parents. Parents, it's a hard job. It's a really hard job now, particularly if you are homeschooling and trying to work and, you're in a small space. All that is really tough. What I would say is if you need, any kind of resources, you can reach out to our office at and the county, 707-784-6663, 6662. We got all kinds of numbers. Give us a call. I would also offer up First Five Center, which is on Sonoma Boulevard. The First Five Center is open. They are, minimal in terms of the number of people and children, but the resources are there. And like you said, Jamila, they're giving away diapers. They're helping to connect people to funding, to help pay rent, to do all kinds of things. So to improve their current situation to the best that we can. And I do want to thank you as well for holding these conversations. We don't talk enough about childhood experiences and those that are violent and those that we don't really want to talk about, or we've put in that box and we put it on the shelf somewhere in our brain and we don't want to open it up. And once you start opening it up, it's hard. It's hard work. Josette can talk about that. It's not easy to face, what happened to you as a young child.
Somebody was asking about the phone numbers. I think I remember them. I think it was 707-784-6662. Was that it?
Or 6663 or 707. What's the other number, Josette?
The Vallejo number is 553-5363. 707-553-5363.
5363.
And that's our district office, and that's where you'll find Josette, myself, and Michael working to help connect people to resources, among many other things.
What was it again? 707, sorry.
553 5363.
Okay. Oh, it allows me to drop it, I think. Okay. Well, this was really great. I can't wait for next week. We have to continue these conversations every Wednesday, 6 p.m. here. It's going to be different every week. I just want people to share. Everyone has a story, and I think about resilience, like Joe said. Yeah, you wouldn't think that she went through what she went through. You would not. Like she's a great person. She's amazing. I was sharing earlier, on Facebook, but some people that have went through just one of those ACEs possibly take their life. Like you scored 10 and you just trucking along, like, like, that's great. Like, it's amazing. You are a living testimony. You really are. It's a living testimony.
I knew, honest, when I was a little girl, I knew that things were going to be different for me. I promised myself that. And there were bumps and there were things, challenges, but I knew it in my gut, in my heart, and I fought for it. I fought my way out of uncomfortable situations. But I knew it was going to happen. It took me a while. Things weren't always easy. I'm sure there's still more work that could come up that I have to do. I'm always working on it. But I knew it, and anybody can tackle anything, no matter what. I am confident of that, and I do have a great love for children, all the work that I did, and many of them still contact me. They ask me for letters of recommendations. They ask me for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I love the kids that I worked with, and now are adults, and some of them are having children and getting married. So be kind to the children in your life and to the people in your life, because that's you can change a person's life
Instantly.
yes.
Be the one you didn't see. Like,
Yes.
be that person that you wish you had in your life. Like, we don't have to be bitter. We can love. It's okay to love, and just to have that person is key. To have that person in your life that's a loving, caring adult. Like, it's good. I think about my mom. My mom used to always take people in all the time. I'd be like, I could have friends. She wasn't supposed to be doing this, but if I had friends that ran away or something, and they coming to stay with us, and I was like, what, is this kidnapping? Like,
Today it probably would be.
right? But they will come stay with us, and I do believe that's because her mom was caring like that. She cared for people, so my mom was like that, and then she'll talk to the parents and stuff, which it was great. She was cool. My mom was cool. She still is cool. Mm-hmm. She still whipped my ass, but she was cool. So she was cool. She was cool.
I like what you said about forgiving too. It's hard for me to forgive, some of the people in my past, some of the adults. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, you kind of made a really turning point for me. It's important to forgive and move forward. It's not good to hold all that in. I don't like to hold in that, anger and stuff like that. So thank you for that tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome. Even if you there's a program called Celebrate Recovery. I know we said we was leaving. I'm leaving Aaron. You said your meeting was canceled, so that just was.
I'm sorry. I should have said, oh.
So it's called Celebrate Recovery. I was telling you about it, Joe. And it's a 12-step. They have the 12-step, the AA, but this is with anything, and my thing was codependency. So always want to make sure everybody's okay, and just, always being there for people. And they had you dive deep in that class. You had to dive deep, and you had to write down people that you were mad at and everything, and you had to contact them. You had to, or write them a letter, and that's what you had to do, and that's what helped the whole process, because, and it's in the Bible too. You have to forgive people. If you don't forgive people, God won't forgive you. And it's you treat people the way I want people to forgive me. If it's something, I don't know. So yeah. Okay, well, we're done for tonight. You guys want to come on to Friendship Missionary Baptist Church Bible study? Started at 7:00. That's where I'll be going right now. So shout out to Pastor Quick.
Do we have to have a Bible?
No, he has the screen. Up, so, and it's great. And he's been talking about trauma a lot, which I'm so proud of him, because he shared his story. He shared stuff that he went through that people, it's his to tell. So he share it, and it's wow. And people are wow, really? Like, yeah, resilience.
Yeah.
People go through stuff, you get through anything. Joe, you a soldier. You are a soldier. Okay.
We call her a warrior. A warrior.
Warrior. You're a warrior. Okay. Get through
Oh,
anything.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me to be here tonight.
Yeah. I needed your story. That was huge. I want Michael on here to be a zero. Like, that's something to talk about. Like, wow, okay, so how was your household? Like, everyone he needs to be planning stuff. He needs to be setting up stuff, to be in a healthy environment. What does it look like to grow up in a healthy environment? Like, he would be the one to tell it. Like, that's huge. That is. Okay. All right. Well, thanks again, Erin. Thanks again, Joe. We will be here every Wednesday. I'll have new guests every Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. We will be bringing more awareness around trauma.
All right. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night. Good night, everyone viewing. Catherine, Anna, my brother, Heather.